This man right here, I have a couple of words to say for him. Couple. I was in an old Methodist church before I get to you. And, you know, they said, you cut Bill Bibby's head off, it'll keep talking. We were talking about John the Baptist when he was beheaded. So I don't know why I threw that in there. Al Raven, how much do we love you and respect you, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's give this guy a hand, boy. He's the man right here. He is indeed. I thought of this as, well, I never dream up a speech. It's always in me. I thought about this man way back when, and he's loved me hard, and he always stops at the house and takes my picture. And when I open the door, I say to him, I'm still here. So it's okay. But this man has, when they say he has a dream, you see it right here. It's unbelievable how he started and where we're at. Al, I want to congratulate you on the whole operation here in your Hudson, Saratoga Corinth Hudson family, we call it, including everybody. But what a guy, what achievements he's made and what boundaries he's crossed up and over to get, and barriers to get where he is. I'm proud of you. I'm telling you right now, man, you are the man. We talk to Walter Richards, we talk to Carl Thursings. Right here is the present day above all of them. This man, you're loved just as much, and I'm sure I speak for everybody here. You're a marvel, and many times we talked, and I know I've talked to Matt along with others. How does he get it done? How's he do it? That brings us to that lady. Aaron, every man's got a good woman, and he's got one, and I got one. And those 40 years on the railroad, it takes a good woman to sponsor a crazy railroader. There's no question about it. We're hard to understand, and they understand one thing. When we got married, I joined the railroad up in '67. Then we got married in 3 months. So did I marry the railroad before her? In a way. But boy, oh boy, she went through it with me. And I want to thank Leona. She's not here. She sends her love. My other half of 57 years coming up in November.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, high school sweetheart. So I sat there in my 55 Chevy with my DuckTales at the high school. She walked by me and it was like, yeah, okay. The guy she was with was kind of walking right behind her as usual. She didn't care for me, but she married me. What's up with women? They want something they don't believe they want. But anyway, I'm thinking of her. I thank the Lord for getting here the number of times on the railroad. This man over here, Brad Peterson, what can I say? Wanted to come on the D&H, and he's here. Aaron, you know who you all are, and you know how much I love you, I hope. But Aaron, I really want to say thank you. I don't want to say for putting up with him, but you're a special lady. Here we go. Did I say too much, or did I get it done?
No.
All right, okay. There's so many people to thank. Bert, my dad, 35 years. He was a car knocker, and he took me everywhere. I was turning seats and coaches up there in North Creek with Dad when I was 7, icing up the coaches. I think of him in memory. He's been gone a long time. But there's also another man. He took me where I went. Tommy McConnell, this one's for you. I spent every Saturday with him on these girls, adjusting brakes, changing strainers. And never would I ever believe that these girls would be back with us again. They're home. I only have a little remorse for the 4068. She's down there. We're thinking of you, girl. Many a mile I rode in her. She was an Adirondacker, too. This is beautiful, and I don't know if I took it all in yet, so that's why I'm going on and on and on.
You haven't, Bill. You're here. You got all day. You're here all day. All right?
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, you're here all day.
I gotta say, no matter what.
That's right. Because we haven't even got to the good part yet. All right?
We haven't?
No. I don't even know. So I don't even know how to follow that. I guess just welcome and thanks for coming. Show's over.
I thought we were going to take him for a ride.
That's right. I know. If I didn't cut him off, we were not going to make 11 o'clock.
He's right.
But
I didn't watch the
But
clock.
no. He's going to have some great stories. So no, we're not cutting you off because
I know.
you have a lot to tell us, and we want to get to the good part. All right. Sorry, I want to hear some of he's got some of these stories that I can't tell anything like it because they are the best. But first of all, I just wanted to say thank you and welcome everyone for coming today and joining us on this special day, this historic day, as we welcome these two locomotives back home to their old stomping grounds. These engines were historically significant, built in 1952 in Schenectady, New York at the American Locomotive Company. When Delaware and Hudson dieselized, these were the engines that took over and replaced steam in the 1950s, 1953, 54, creating the Delaware and Hudson as a fully dieselized railroad. But, I never thought if you asked me in the winter time or in the spring if we would have these here. I never even thought about it. We've been very fortunate here with our friends, our family. All of our close friends, the people we've met on this journey since we started the SC&H in 2021. We've come a long ways. We started with just 5, which was a falling apart train wreck when we got it, and tons of work. Bill was there the first day we got started with Matt and some others, and it was a Sunday, and I was pretty frustrated and disappointed at this point. We'd been working on this thing for weeks, and it wouldn't start, and the batteries were drained deader than dead, and I said, Bill came over and he sat by the engine with me, and he said, well, we're going to try it one more time. And he said, well, let's say a prayer. So he did. He said a prayer, and Bill always said, Sunday isn't for working, except for railroaders. And that was true. And it was a Sunday, and we said a quick prayer, and we went up and we hit that start button one more time, and she went, whoa, 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 and it started to go. And she lit right up, and we stood there, and we said, here we go.
And thank you, Jesus. That was an honest prayer.
It
wasn't goofy.
It was.
He was wore out to a point of beyond.
And but that's where she started. Yep. We had a running engine. We were on our way, and the SC&H got going. So we slowly built up with what we have. We've met some great people on this journey, and it's really this is the destination, right? Everything we've met along the way, the people that have helped us do this, and the friends that have created this great successful railroad. Our town, all of our friends that have supported us, supervisors that are here with us today from Greenfield and town of Corinth. Everybody's been ultra supportive and helpful in seeing this little railroad succeed and become a successful business here in Corinth. But long and short, how do we get these engines? Why did they come here? Why do we need these? It just happened. It was, everybody asked, how do you do it? I really have no idea. I just wake up in the morning, I call him, and I'm like, hey, by the way, we're getting new engines this week. It just happens. We had some great people here. David Monteverdi from the Delaware Lackawanna was riding the nearest convention train with us. And we were talking about it, telling him what we were doing, preserving the history of the Delaware Hudson Railway. He loved it. He knew these engines belonged to your original Delaware and Hudson locomotives, and he wanted to see them be used again. They were sitting in storage in Scranton, and he said, let's bring these home. So I called him in the morning. We worked out a deal, and another week or so later, Jack and I were headed to Scranton to go check them out. And I didn't know if it really happened, but it did. So here we are, 2 months later, and they're sitting here in Corinth. I never thought this would actually happen. And I fell in love with these engines when I was a kid. I mean, you look at them, they're sleek. They were built in the 50s. It's like a 50, pickup truck. Sleek lines. I think they're the most beautiful locomotives ever produced. And there was just something about these that, as a kid, fascinated me, and they're beautiful. There were 1,500 of these produced. Today, there's less than probably 2 dozen that in the country that run. We have 2 of them here. There's a couple more in Greenwich on the Battenkill, which brings me to the next part of the story. My good friend and mentor, Bill Tabor, hired me at the Battenkill when I was 18 years old. I went over there when I was 17. I used to ride in the RS-3s with Ron Crowd on the Battenkill Rambler. It was one of my favorite things. I remember riding around in the cabs of these and looking at the sleek lines and just thinking how beautiful they were. And then now here we are today with a pair of these beautiful Delaware and Hudson locomotives here. Now we go back to saying about remembering. You know, and that's what we like to do. We like to preserve the history. Our goal is to preserve the history of the Delaware and Hudson and keep those memories alive. I love when people tell me these great stories about, I remember this, I remember growing up on these, I remember these engines, and that's a huge part of this. We want to remember. We want to remember our history, and we want to remember the men and women of the Delaware and Hudson that have done this, you know, created this legacy and done this for, 100 years before us. So as we remember the men and women of the Delaware and Hudson, and everything that's been, here with this railroad, and as we go forward creating these great memories, we dedicate the 4118. Dedicate the 4118, the Remembrance, dedicated to the men and women of the Delaware and Hudson Railway.
Beautiful.
Now, with that being said,
Hey, Brad.
In remembering, we always like to remember. And I feel dedication to locomotives is very important. And we remember the men and women of the Delaware and Hudson and the legacy. One of the things that is important to me is remembering people that are great in our lives, like you, Bill. Come on up, second. Come on up. I've known Bill since I was a kid. My love of trains at the train shows, seeing Bill there, remembering with his pipe all the time, telling great train stories, telling me stories of the RS-3s, terror stories of North Creek. And every time I got to see Bill, I was always thrilled. I never got a chance to work with him, but there was one day I was working up on Sanford Lake Branch, and I stopped by the house. I said, "Bill, put your pants on." He says, "Why? Where are we going?" I said, "Get in the truck." So I said, "Come on." So we went out, and he helped me put a rail back in north of North Creek there, North River. One spike, but that's all right. You helped me put the rail in. You were there for emotional support. It was a hot day, and we were up there, and I said, I never got to work with you at Saratoga. You had retired by the time I got hired on the D&H. I said, so I wanted to make sure I had a day that I worked with you out here on the railroad. So Bill came out and helped me put that rail in, and we've done fun things ever since. Now, I know how special these engines are to him. He's I'm sure gonna tell us some great stories about growing up in the cabs of these. I hope he's gonna tell us the story about putting the engines on the turntable. That's one of my favorites. This story will crack you up. But I want Bill to be able to see this while he's here with us. So come on over here, Bill.
4103 said to the 18, where are we going? Back home.
All right.
We dedicate the 4103 to William Bibby.
All right.
I feel it's a lot more important for someone to be able to see their name on an engine while they're here. And we wanted Bill to be able to create more of these memories that he can share with everyone. So we dedicate the 4118 and the 4103, the Remembrance and the William Bibby. Guys, thank you for joining us today. We're going to do the ribbon cutting in just a few minutes. A couple other things before we conclude this. Jack, would you come here, please? For those of you that don't know, this is my son, Jack. Jack has been working very hard and training as a locomotive engineer. He's got, probably 300, 400, 500 hours by now. We just stopped keeping track because he's up there every day. But this great picture, Bill doesn't know this is here. This is a picture of Bill when he's 18 years old, sitting in the cab, probably of the 4103, up in North Creek. I don't know if you knew we had that. But I snagged that picture. I snagged that picture out of your kitchen, and had it blown up. All right, but that's Bill at 18 years old, And when I saw this, and these came home, and Jack started running the engines again at finishing hours, I couldn't think but the resemblance. Jack's here, 17 going on 18 years old, and it's literally recreating history here. I feel, you guys hold that.
What a moment. Yeah, just let me.
I feel like this is something that you can't, recreate. I mean, it just happens organically. And when I saw that picture and I saw Jack putting his bibs on and his new engineer hat, I couldn't think but how proud I was that he's following this path and this journey with us, and part of our railroad family with all of you that get to see these great trains out here rolling on the iron again and sharing that with us. So Jack, here's a little gift from us to you.
Got her. Thank you.
His own custom locomotive engineer pinstripe jacket. Right. Now, Bradley has been teaching Jack for years. He's been in the cab with me since he was about yay big. He's come a long ways. He's grown a lot in the last few years. And we finally reached the point now where we present you, in accordance with the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 240, your locomotive engineer certificate.
Wow! Woo! 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 Just keep it off the ballast.
Little Bill.
That's right.
Whoa, what a...
We'll have to see if you can hold a candle to him now. That's an awfully big candle. And Bill's told me this story 100 times, and no matter how many times he tells it, it's still one of the best stories about the RS-3s and as he was a boy in North Creek and on the turntable. So if you wouldn't mind, Bill,
I'd love to.
if you tell him, if you tell everybody the story about you as a boy up there.
In memory of Tommy McConnell, there's so many, but Tommy is the one that took me on. I'm 14 years old, and we showed up. We adjusted the brakes. We did everything on them, sanded them and such as that. And it was a me and him and a him and I. I mean, he didn't let me go crazy up there. Little by little, he gave you more, as you did with Jack, and look where he is. So this one particular Saturday is when we worked there. It could have been her. She was there all the time. 4103. So I'm on it, and I got a turner. The turntable, of course, is still there, and we used it a lot. I go behind the shop, just alcoing along, and I looked out the window, and who is it but Mr. Sheehy and 3 other officials. If I could have told you the expression on his face, or if I could have made it, it's unbelievable.
How old were you? Because you were 14?
14. I had the bell ringing. Oh boy, they knew my dad. D&H was a family, and I wasn't. They knew me, and they knew what I was up to. I rode a Mohawk. I'd skip school with my books. I lived right beside the track. Johnny Graziano would say, "Come on, we're going to mines." I said, "Pop's in the caboose." He said, "I'll take care of him." So bus number 11 was waiting at the crossing, and I went by. I waved to the bus driver. Do you think they knew what I was doing? They knew. You'll find out at the end of this. I put her on the table, I put the brake on, and I slithered down. Now it's time to face him. He had a straw hat, and he looked very D&H professional. Trust me, there was 2 of them. "Good morning," he says. I said, "Good morning. I'm Mr. Sheehy, General Superintendent." They had the rail car, the Pontiac. "How long you been doing that?" "Is it your first day?" I said, "No." "So you've done it before?" "Yes." "Are you the guy that goes to Taha's and skips school?" "Because my dad put me in one of the closets, and trust me, they're tight. He showed up one day, he grabbed me from my egg salad sandwich and stuffed me in a caboose closet. I peeked out the bottom of them 3 holes, and I saw shiny shoes. I said, it's an official. D&H knew their employees better than we knew them. We had a little visit, and I assume you go to Mohawk if you go to Sanford Lake. I said, yes, sir. Are you careful? I said, yes, sir. But Mr. Sheehy, I said, I don't belong here. I want to be here. Please don't do anything to Mr. McConnell. He had 5 kids. He never said anything. He went in the shop. I went over and sat on the station steps with my head and my heart in my hand. I wasn't worried about me. I was worried about him. Mr. Sheehy was in there 10 minutes. He came out. He said, good to meet you, Bill. I said, yes, Mr. Sheehy, thank you. He says, give my love to your dad. Tommy, I says, Mr. Sheehy say anything to you? He says, no. Think about that. He didn't yell at him. That was the D&H. And you know the love, that man saw the love in my heart for today and all the many miles her and I rode together. I want to take time. I do love the Lord. I'm a sinner like us all. But I want to thank Jesus, my Savior, for getting me through those close calls on the railroad. Many there were. But he had my dream fulfilled. And when how I see it in you, he's got a dream. I had a dream. Mine happened and yours is happening. And who do you give glory to? I'm not Billy Graham. You give it to the Lord. That's why we're here. We're his kids. He deserves the honor and the recognition, especially as things going today. I know we all love him. Just tell him you do and tell him thank you. Thank you for this day, Lord. God bless everybody here, including these engines. And I'm so specially loved. And he made sure that happened from the time I was 14 till I'm 78 coming up. What a journey. And he made it happen. $1.29, no motor, but I was happy. I picked it up at the post office at 12 years old. I sat beside the track. I opened the box. And it was an Emmy moment for me. $1.29. I says, I got one. It don't run. It's not powered, but I said it don't have to. I just want to look at it. And I got a powered one. But I said to Matt, I wanted them so bad that every hobby town that comes through this shop, I'm going to buy it. And he gave me a discount. Good thing. They're not high bucks. We've got Atlas and I'm closing. What are they? I'd take this over anything. So, Matt, it doesn't surprise me the love you've given me over the years.
You're deserving of it, Bill.
Thank you, son. And this will be my special hobby town in Boston, RS-3. I cherish it. I cherish all your love. I'm almost out of words, but not really.
That would be a first.
Come up for air, Bill. Come up for air.
But once again, thank you again.
The music's playing, Bill. Here it comes.
I'm going to ask all my SC&H staff to come up and we're going to cut the ribbon. And then we got a lot of D&H guys here today. I want to ask all of our D&H, all our second subbers to come up here and get a photo with us here in front of our Delaware Hudson Alco RS-3. So welcome home, girls. And thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. If you haven't talked to Bill Bibby and don't know him, I ask you to get a chance to meet. A lot of D&H guys here that are here. So definitely talk with these guys, get some great pictures, enjoy the day. We're going to finish up here, and then we'll pull the train up, get everybody boarded. But we'll be hanging out here for a few minutes, getting some photo ops.